what I do. Dwan Dandridge, CEO of Black Leaders Detroit, and we are back with another episode of Speak for Yourself. Of course, we have the one, the only, Ken Elkins in the building.
What's happening?
And a special guest, our new neighbor, Madala Mathurin.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So, Madala, what's the name of your company? And one of the ways that we like to kick it off is we like to have our guests introduce themselves to our audience. Mm-hmm. So how would you like our audience to know you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the name of the company is Kozen, and I'm the co-founder and CEO. I do have a co-founder as well, which is super important to know, especially in this journey.
Yeah, shout them out. Who's the co-founder?
Amanda Zora.
Shout out to Amanda.
Yeah.
So what are y'all doing at Kozen?
Yeah, so we build tools for software, or we build software for wellness professionals to conduct sessions anywhere. That goes from the rooftop of your apartment to the comfort of your own home, or on the beach, or in the park.
And so about wellness professionals, you were speaking of anyone, first doctors, dietitians, nurses, pretty much anyone who provides wellness services. You guys provide software for them to do that?
Yeah, so more specifically, this is for wellness professionals. So this is going to be the wellness sectors of yoga, meditation, sound baths, assisted stretching, and breath work.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's your typical client?
So our typical clients normally are yoga instructors. I don't know if you've seen on Instagram like the girls that do the sound bowl baths, right, with like a bunch of people in the park, or like at a
Yes.
or like on the beach, or like meditations on the beach.
Park. Where you see that at?
Oh, not one bath. I've seen it.
No,
in the
sound
park,
bath.
Sound bath. So what is a sound bath?
See, I knew you hadn't seen it.
Well, when you said at the park, I missed the whole sound bath part. I'm like, I've seen them doing yoga down at the Riverwalk. At the Riverwalk, I'll see them.
Yeah, so for example,
camp out there, you know what I mean, in a group.
Yeah, so for example, at the Riverwalk, right, a bunch of people show up and do yoga, right? Yeah. So we build a software that will enable a yoga instructor or sound bath instructor to do that wherever. What a sound bath is, more specifically, is when a yoga instructor comes to like the event or wherever they are with the bowls, and they, what do I say? Guide the, I don't know how to say it. They rub the bowls to make the sound. The sound. And what that does is that puts you in a certain theta wave state after a certain amount of time. So with people in California, people here, what we're seeing is the increase in the amount of people who want these sound bath sessions, who want yoga, who want meditation, in a community setting. So this is like I said, in the park with your friends, or we've had people do couples, like yoga, couple sound baths and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm sorry, I have to get out. If I start seeing this, I'm out. I'm not about to sit there long enough to be hypnotized. I'm not happy.
It's great for you though. I would encourage you to try it.
I ain't doing it.
We gotta go though. Now we gotta go. Now we gotta go.
He needs it. You know what I mean? But he's not open to. There's a lot of things he needs,
but ain't open
that he avoids.
Okay,
right?
It's clear.
Right.
It's clear. Meditation. Do you do a lot of meditation?
You know what? I need to meditate. My boy Martez used to meditate a lot and tell me he used to do these escapes. And I wanted to try it, but to be honest, I don't know. I haven't been able to be alone with myself for that amount of time.
See, that's what it is.
I mean, that's a lot to ask of anybody to be alone with you. So, I mean, even like yourself, you know what I mean? That's a lot to ask. So I get it. It makes sense when you put it that way.
Yeah. Meditation is normally like, you can do it for 5 minutes, right? 10 minutes, 15, 20. Some people do 30, right? And time will fly by like this, too.
Start with like 30 seconds by yourself.
30 seconds.
And see if you can get along with you. 30 seconds.
For 30 seconds. All right, I'm going to try that. But I'm still not doing it with a sound bath, though.
Well, you work your way up to it.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah. How'd you get into engineering?
Yeah, man. It's an interesting story. So I went, I've always been a curious kid. And when I was playing soccer, it was a point at which I knew that I wouldn't go like to the MLS, right, which is like the league. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do next? What I remembered is that I was like kind of a techie kid growing up. I used to hack like my PSP and like Xbox to get free games and stuff. I'm like, okay, it seems like tech is like a lane that I would like to go down. And just following that curiosity, I just started applying to a bunch of tech jobs. And then I landed a job at Apple.
Oh,
so, yeah.
How old were you when you landed the job at Apple?
I had to be like, I don't know, like 19? No, 20.
So you ain't been to college yet?
No, actually, no. I was like 22 probably. I had been to college for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And I landed the job at Apple.
That was without graduating from college.
Yeah, right? Without graduating. Yeah. So I landed the job at Apple.
When you say Apple, were you selling phones?
So
what were you doing?
I was going to get into it. Yeah. So I was selling phones, selling MacBooks. I was on the floor. And I was just enamored by how Apple was able to get people to show up at the mall and have this line outside of the mall year after year after year. I'm like, how the hell are they doing this? And following my curiosity, that led me to the software ecosystem.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, okay. Like, I do understand that when you get an iPad, you want to connect it to your iPhone. And when you get your iPhone, you want to connect it to your MacBook, right? And it's like all these things are connected. And then I went deeper into that. I'm like, okay, it seems like the software is what I need to be paying attention to since it brings everybody in. And that's when I taught myself how to code.
Oh, nice.
And then from there, my buddy and I, we built our first app. He actually, he went to U of M at the time. And he wanted to learn how to build apps as well. And we just stuck together for like, I think 3 months, just building our own app together. And then from there, I built more projects. And then I became the second iOS engineer on the Rocket Homes team. Nice. So just following that curiosity like led me to those steps and getting a full-time job without graduating. So,
nice.
Wow.
It's
crazy.
Nice. And so why the wellness platform? Were you into yoga and these things at that time, or was it you saw the necessity that kind of drove you to it? Why did you pick?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really the story is that after I worked for Rocket Homes, I had bounced around a bit during the pandemic, right? Like I did Vegas for a month, I did Atlanta for a month, I also did Houston for a month, like while I was working for Rocket Homes. And when I came, then I started applying to a bunch of jobs. Okay. And I was like, okay, cool. Like Rocket wants me to come back to the office. I was like, I don't know about that. This is pretty lit. I'm having a great time. Right. Also, everybody who I talked to was like, yo, if I was your age, I definitely would be doing that, going to different parts of the country and just working. And so when they were talking about coming back to the office, I didn't want to do that. So what did I have to do? I had to get a new job, right? Yeah. So I ended up applying to companies all over America and then landed a company in Silicon Valley. And we built integrations for like MailChimp, Dropbox, Slack, Google, things like that, and like home services as well. And when I visited Michigan after I got my job, my best friend, as of 8 years, fell into a deep depression. And I was terrified. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if it went untreated or just even like, I had no idea. I was scared. I was terrified. And I told him, I said, hey, you can use Headspace and Calm, the meditation apps, right? Mm-hmm. And he came back to me 3 weeks later. He's like, dude, this is not working. He's like, I feel alone. I don't have any community around this. Is there any way I can do something like with you? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no problem. That's cool. So I hit up my homegirl who's a yoga instructor, and I said, hey, like this is the rundown. Like, would you be able to do these sessions with me? And she's like, yeah, no problem. So like the day before the session, she's texting me. She's like, okay, does he want an indoor or outdoor? Does he want a yoga mat? Does he want music? What type of music? Does he want incense? What type of incense? Does he want lighting? How does he want it to be set up? And there are all these things that I didn't know that went
sure
into.
He like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, I had no idea. I
don't know if I want all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are all these things that went into it that I just had no idea was a part of doing these individualized sessions. So long story short, 15 to 20 sessions later, he gets a lot better. We're able to eat like in public and like go out. He was able to get integrated back into society, and that was amazing. But what I did was I circled back to her and I was like, hey, like, how often do you do this? And she said she does it often, but not as much as she wants to. And I was like, why? She said, it's cumbersome. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? So what we found out after talking to a bunch of wellness professionals is that they use on average 5 to 7 different tools to conduct these sessions, these custom sessions. And that really was an eye-opener to me. So me having the software background that I had, I was like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna code it, but let me spin up a quick demo just to see like if this is something that she would use. So I went back to her, I was like, hey, like, would you use it? She was like, oh my God, this is great. And I was like, okay, cool, so you would use it. I don't really believe you though, so let me talk to your friends. Yeah. She introed me to her friends who are also yoga instructors, and they said they would use it. So that's how it got started. Just trying to help a friend out and having the background of just building products.
That's dope. Good way to be there for your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's a friend doing now?
Oh, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. Warms my heart, man. Warms my heart.
Yoga with me? Would you
say, would I go to yoga with you?
Would you?
If it would help, shit, I'll go after we get down here.
You would do it, right?
Yeah. Shit, I'll try anything. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what best friends are for, right?
So you talked about your the many jobs you had in regards to coding and those different things. So talk about the transition from employee to founder. Like how difficult is that? Talk about that.
Yeah, that was, so for me, I thought it was really interesting. The reason why I say that is because sometimes they say the best founders or CEOs are not the best employees. So I think I was a good employee.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was a good employee, but I always had this knack for like just doing things a certain way, and like thinking about things in different ways than other people were used to. And also, I always had this entrepreneurial spirit. Like growing up, like I used to when people used to break their iPhones in high school, I used to fix the iPhone screens. And I used to make them red, like a red screen. You can get a red screen from me, a blue screen, a green screen. Yeah. And I used to order the parts from China and sell them. And even before that, LimeWire. I used to download. Songs off LimeWire and just make like custom mixtapes and sell them in school because not everybody
look old enough to have it.
I'm just hoping there's a statute of limitations on all this illegal stuff you did. We didn't talk about like
it's a part of it,
like breaking his gaming systems, like
to get free games.
games.
I was doing that.
He called it getting free games. They wasn't free.
They were free to me. But look, my mom didn't want to buy me more games. She's like, "You have enough games." I was like,
"I'll come for anybody. Come for mom," is what he's saying.
It was
her fault.
But look, she made an entrepreneur. So so I did. I used to sell the CDs because not everybody would want to listen to the whole 50 Cent CD. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I could make. My dad had a stack of blank CDs from Best Buy. Went in there, burned them off LimeWire, sold them in school, and that was part of my entrepreneurial journey as well. I didn't know it at the time. I was just doing stuff. Right? And then so that transition to always having that spirit to then being your own founder, it was actually a lot easier than I thought. Right. The only part that I think took some adjusting to is like running your own team per se, like the people, right? But outside of that, like being able to collaborate with my co-founder, who's phenomenal, on different ideas and different projects for the company. I think it was seamless. But I think that there are a couple things that you need to have as a founder transitioning out from an employee that is super important. The first thing I'd say is resilience, because a lot of people are going to tell you your idea is good. A lot of people are going to tell you your idea is bad when you talk to these investors or whatever, and you need to have the resilience to push through. There's that, and then I'd also say have a close relationship with what gets you motivated, right? If you have that close relationship when times are tough, and you can always go back to this one thing that you know, if I watch this video, if I do this workout, if I talk to this person, if I talk to this community of people, I'll get recharged. And you know what? I got knocked down today. Maybe I got knocked down 3 days in a row. Yeah. But you know what? We're back at it on day 4.
What does that look like for you? What is that thing that you go back to, if you don't mind sharing?
No, it's fine. Yeah. So one of the things that's super important to me is getting like high intensity, I guess, lifting sessions in. Okay. That to me is like, it's almost like I get to like shed the old me. You know, when you leave the gym, you feel incredible. Like, I love that feeling.
You don't go to the gym, but okay. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But you feel incredible. Like, that's one of the things that I have a super close relationship to. Just in the gym, it's almost like you're shedding the old version of yourself, and then you come out and you're like a new person, right? Nice. You have new perspectives, and you just feel a lot better.
Nice.
It's one of them. Yeah.
That's the same with riding a bike, though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, that's why you jump on the bike all the time to clear your head.
Mm-hmm. Whatever it is.
Close relationship with whatever it is that motivates you. And that's what you find your motivation in. You go for a ride and come with me with some ridiculous ideas.
Yeah.
But it's from your ride, though, you know? You got to be free.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I know what you mean when you say that. Yeah. So for me, it looks like prayer, meditation, but also riding. Like a long bike ride consistently, and I can come back with either some dope ideas or some dumb ideas. But I'm going to have some ideas.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah, as long as you get something.
More likely they all dope. I give them a hard time, but it'd be a couple ridiculous ones. We all have a couple ridiculous ones.
I mean, you gotta have a lot of ridiculous ones. You got to. Absolutely.
Like I think 100%. You might have said this, or someone said it, to where if you haven't come up with a ridiculous idea, you're not pushing yourself enough to think outside of what's typical and what's normal. For sure. You still trapped in a box.
100%.
If you haven't came up with some ridiculous idea, right, to show that yes, I'm thinking way outside the box, right? And so I appreciate those ideas to show that.
One of mine was floating stop signs.
Floating
stop signs, yeah.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous idea.
It's like why?
What was it going to float on? What was it going to float on?
It was going to be a little pad that has a magnetic charge that was like that can sustain the sign. So like people don't run into stop signs. Like when you're walking and you're looking at your phone, you don't run into it. It's just a floating stop sign.
That's driving a car.
Yeah,
and you do something stupid and jump a curb. You don't hit it.
You don't hit it. Yeah, I used to have this idea book, right? Every day I just write down 10 ideas. I'd force myself to write down 10 ideas every single day. That was one of them. Floating stop.
But it's a ridiculous idea. But next week, if I come out with a floating stop sign,
I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't be mad at you.
Ridiculous idea. Just let me have it next week.
Hey, look, let me invest. Just let me invest.
Ken will repitch your idea to you.
I got this. Listen,
Ken has shot down ideas of mine and other team members, and then only to come back in a team meeting a couple weeks later, like, hey, I got this idea. Pitch your same idea. I'm like, I'm glad we tracking ideas. We that same thing is up here with the veto by you. Your name. Right?
So I just told you that.
Right. Exactly. Oh, that's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, man, this is exciting stuff, man. Is there anything that we didn't get to touch on that you would love to share with the audience?
I actually would love for them to share real quick, because you do have people who are small businesses. And I think one of the biggest space for us to get into ecosystems is that of tech. It's just primarily because we don't even know where to get the money from. Right? So we talked about investors early. I think that's definitely a space we're unfamiliar with. We tend to do what we know, where we can physically get money and then start making more money to continue making more money. So talk to us about that world, about getting investors. What did y'all do when y'all first started out to even pay for the work, right? The work that you're doing, because that's expensive. Of course, you're coding yourself, so it takes away some of the expense. But just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I guess I can start with my relationship with my co-founder. So we met at the Apple Store. I forget how it happened, but I think she was talking to somebody else, and it came up that she was a product designer. And I was like, oh, you're a product designer? Mind you, I'm young. She's young. I'm like, I'm an engineer. We should be friends. Like, I know what that looks like when it's good, right? Yeah. And then from then on, we just had that relationship. I've always been interested in what she was building, what she was designing, how she was thinking about things, because she thought so differently than me, being an engineer by trade. I just thought it was fascinating. So we kept that relationship, and then we ended up like doing projects together and things like that. And she's my co-founder now. It was a no-brainer to have her like just be on the team, because I was like, yo, like, you know, you've seen me build this thing. She was a part of some of the early days, right, of it coming together. And I thought that was really important to have her on the team, and it was just like a super synergetic like relationship. And so when it comes down to like not paying for things, right? So I'm an engineer by trade, like I said 50 times, and she does the designs. So we actually were able to dodge a lot of early costs just because even with a quick prototype, like she could just whip something up, she could send it over. I'm like, okay, cool, let me implement that, and then we talk about it, right? So that is really important in when it comes to prototyping, right? Because you don't want to spend like from these investors, I'm gonna circle around. You don't want to spend all that money on just ideas. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, let's say you get 10K. And you're nervous about if this 10K is going to be the hit that you need it to be because you only got this one grant, right? But to answer your question more directly, we were able to get grants from different programs. We were able to, like I said, dodge a lot of the costs because designer and engineer working, and also just get intros to a lot of people that can give us resources. Like, for example, we have a couple folks that we're working with now that are interns, and they actually are at university right now, and they're super happy to work with us. We're happy to work with them, and they believe in the vision as well. So I feel like part of what's important with like getting people to work with you is being able to tell that story, because you wouldn't necessarily need to go to investors for a ton of capital if you can talk to people and get people to follow your idea. And in regards to investors, so VCs are interesting, right? So there's a whole venture capital sector where they invest in high growth startups. There are different stages like pre-seed, seed, Series A. As the company grows, you become in those different rungs, right? And how to get money from them is interesting. It's always a topic of conversation on Twitter because some investors are like, you need to know X, Y, and Z to even have a conversation with me. Some investors are like a warm intro only. That's the only way that you can get an investment. And other investors like hit me up anytime, but obviously the inbox is flooded. So we understand what that's like. It's like you email somebody 3-4 times, they respond on the 5th time, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, my inbox was crazy, So yeah.
Nice. So one of the things that we like to ask our guests is, what was your biggest F up moment? You seem like you've been in a lot of spaces, but do you have a biggest F up story?
By F up, he means fuck up.
Yeah. Man, biggest F up moment. That's a great question. I don't know if I have it off the tip of my tongue. I don't know.
No pressure. We'll get you to share that on your next
maybe.
Your next go round. Podcast.
Maybe.
Is there something that stands out that you're extremely proud of? Is there a moment that you're extremely proud of that comes to mind?
I'd say that. I mean, I've been in entrepreneurship full time for about 6 months now. I'm extremely proud that I'm able to walk the path that I'm able to walk. I'm extremely proud that I'm able to make people believe in something. There are a lot of people out there that don't necessarily believe in themselves. But after a conversation with me, after a conversation with people who I surround myself with, I can be a light for people. I'm just proud to keep on walking, keep on walking in my path. This is definitely a difficult journey. Sure. I respect any business owner 10 times more after going on this journey, just because of the ups and downs, right, and what you have to deal with while you're trying to pursue your passion. So
that's good, man. From standing there alongside of your friend, working, for Rock Ventures, Silicon Valley. And all of those things, man. It sounds like you've had an amazing story already, right?
Appreciate it.
With that, if you didn't do anything else. But we're excited to be neighbors with you and looking forward to seeing what the future and even the present has in store for you. So keep it up, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
No doubt. Yeah. That is us with another episode of Speak For Yourself. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Peace.